Tell me, do you believe that all men and women are created equal? Do you believe in the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's dream of unity and the beloved community? I'll bet you do. But we also know that religion, faith has created so many divisions among people, and that's gone on throughout history. But spirituality also has the potential for creating bridges that bring us together and move us forward towards a better future. I'm Kitty Oliver, and this is Crossing Cultures, Changing Lives, where we deal with race and ethnicity and differences and how people are living with them in their everyday lives. In this episode, we're going to look at those issues through a spiritual lens. Let's see. Come on inside. Life is a journey of rough roads and dark valleys, so we look for a covered bridge to walk on when the hard rains fall. That may take the form of faith in religion or in science, but both are actively wrestling with the same dilemma. How do you deal with race in an enlightened way?
People are raised religiously through their culture, that they usually accept the religion of their parents. So along that, if their parents were against integration or if their parents were segregationists, that just sort of came along. Because as you know, Kitty, we can have the Bible say anything we want it to say. An educated scholar can find anything in the Bible. I believe, that religion is ultimately here to heal all people. That's why Jesus said, go and make disciples of all nations. He didn't say only the nation of Israel. He didn't say only the white nation. He didn't say only the rich nation. He said, go and teach what I have taught you to all nations. And so what has he taught? He taught love, acceptance, non-judgment, forgiveness, and healing. This time in history, we need a huge dose of love, acceptance, forgiveness, non-judgment, and healing. Here we are in some 54 years after Dr. King got involved in the civil rights movement, and still, right now, 11 o'clock on Sunday, is the most segregated hour of our country. Unfortunately, what we are in this country now is a lot of us and them. On every issue, there's us and them. We're right and they're wrong. And I think really, as I step back and look, we're more of a country of purple than either red or blue. The divisive issues which tear us apart don't affect us all. And I think if we focus on the issues that affect all of us, then we can unite as a country. And so when we question the foundations of why we're taught what we're taught, many people are unconscious about it. For example, recently I brought the whole church to a workers' conference at another church. And it was an interesting experience because a lot of the people who came with me were white, and the church that we went to was predominantly African American. And so afterwards I spoke with them and I said, well, how did you feel? And they said, well, we felt loved, but we were just a little uncomfortable. And I said, well, why? And they said, there's no reason. They said, by the end of the conference we felt fine, but walking in we felt uncomfortable. And then I said, well, interestingly enough, African Americans feel that way in most places they go. So what did you learn? And what they learned is it's important to welcome everyone when they walk in. It's important to greet everyone when they walk in. It's important to really demonstrate the love that Christ is to everyone, to see beyond skin color, gender, sexual orientation, and to see each one of us as a child of God, worthy of recognition just in and of that self. Actually, growing up, I was exposed to a lot of racism in my house and a lot of diversity outside my house. Prior to the ministry, I'm an attorney also. And so I studied the history of the civil rights movement. I studied Jim Crow and the effect it had on children. I studied the psychological impacts of segregation, and I think it just bothered my heart. I think it just hurt me that there was so much separation in this country and there was no real justification for it except that's just the way it was. So I think as I grew older and realized that yes, racism is still alive in this country today, it just moved me to a place where we can't be silent about it. I know Dr. King would always say it's more frustrating the people who are silent than the actual people who are opposed to his civil rights, because there are far more people who are for civil rights and remain silent. And I decided I wasn't going to be one of those people.
You know, faith can be a beautiful thing, and so is acting upon those beliefs, the ones that serve a higher good. Join us for another episode of Crossing Cultures, Changing Lives, where we'll continue to look at race and race relations in a healing way. And until then, you keep sharing your stories too, okay?